But as we are a society that is obsessed with numbers and everybody has a list, as we have reached the end of spring and we're getting close to summer, schools ended at most universities. In the last week or so, you've started seeing popping up post-spring rankings all over the place. You've got some of your typical hitters up there at the top. Texas is up there in a lot of them. Penn State's very high. Ohio State, Oregon. Georgia has not been as high as they have been in the past. CBS had them at 5. Schlabach had them at 4. 24/7 at 6. Andy Staples had us at 8. And Joel Klatt had us at 8. But lower than anybody else was, surprisingly, was Josh Pate. Josh Pate had Georgia at 11. And he had some reasonings for it. And typically Josh doesn't do rankings. He does what he calls power ratings. And his power ratings are a little bit different. They're based on if you looked at teams playing each other, who would be favored and all that. But he said he did
the still rankings.
Yeah. But it's not, it doesn't take so much into won losses into account and more, how good the teams are. But he discounted Georgia. He said he's got Georgia down at 11, and that's fine. If you question Georgia's offensive line, you question the fact that they didn't run the ball very well last year, that's fine.
New quarterback.
But then I started looking at his other rankings. I'm not sure if I understand all of his reasoning. So, this year's Georgia team coming into 2025 is going to have the highest blue chip talent percentage of any team in Georgia history. The schedule gets considerably easier than last year when we had those 3 tough road games in the SEC plus Clemson to open the season. All those games are flipped and are home games this year. And then a lot of those other teams that are the tough games that are on our schedule and stuff, well, those teams that some of them are ranked higher than us. So he had Alabama ranked higher than us. He had Texas ranked higher than us. He had Oklahoma ranked higher than us. He had Florida ranked higher than us.
Yeah,
Ohio State.
Those last two, Florida and Oklahoma being ranked ahead, that's where it makes me scratch my head.
Yeah.
Because I can see, and Clemson at number 1. What the heck?
So what I was going to say is that him talking about a lot of those schools have new starting quarterbacks, which is one of the knocks he had against Georgia. But Bama is starting a new quarterback. Tennessee is now going to be starting a new quarterback, which he didn't have Tennessee.
Texas.
But Texas is starting a new quarterback. Ole Miss is starting a new quarterback.
Notre Dame.
Even if you look at the other ones, Notre Dame is starting a new quarterback. Oregon's starting a new quarterback. Ohio State starting a new quarterback. Oklahoma starting a new quarterback. So all of those schools are starting new quarterbacks, and that was one of the reasons that he talked about. So I don't know. You can doubt Georgia. That's fine. But Georgia hasn't finished outside of the top 10 since 2016. Georgia has played in every SEC championship game except for the COVID year since 2017. They've won 2 national championships. They've won 3 SEC championships in that time. So you're going to tell me that a team that last year struggled to run the ball, was in the 100s in the country running the ball, had a tougher schedule, and still won the SEC, is going to be worse next year?
And has arguably the best coaching staff in college football.
I just don't know if I don't know if Georgia's going to win the national championship next year. I didn't know if they were going to be a contender this year. You know what? As bad as Georgia was, they won the SEC. You know what they were ranked going into the playoffs? They were number 2.
Mm-hmm. And in any other system, they would have been playing for the national title.
Right.
But that's not the system anymore. So they didn't make it, and is what it is. But I secretly think that Pate's just trying to give some motivation to Kirby.
Maybe he is.
Because he's from Georgia. He was talking about that the other day.
Yeah. He's from Columbus, which we all know is Auburn town. I don't know where his alliance is. He always plays it kind of coy. Some people say that he's Alabama fan secretly at heart. I don't think he's really anything. I think he's just a college football fan. It's just weird. I think it's more of a talking point. Does he really feel that way? I don't know.
Well, it certainly got some buzz. I mean, so grant him that.
Right.
I just can't believe Florida is ahead. But
People
what
are
do
putting
I know?
people are putting a lot of faith in DJ Lagway's shoulder right now. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, you brought that up weeks ago about his injury history.
Right. Well, it's more so the shoulder injury. He couldn't play in spring. You're relying on a guy who was about same number of touchdown passes to interceptions last year, who couldn't throw in spring and get better. So physically, yeah, he's an amazing talent, but we'll see. Just like last year, they have one of the hardest schedules in the country. So,
And you're only good if you can actually stay on the field.